Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod, and happy birthday, Bitcoin. Bitcoin, it's your birthday. 16 years since the birth of the Genesis block, which was exactly 16 years ago today. So today we celebrate. Also in today's show, as always, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis. Also breaking news, the Bitcoin hash rate hits a new all-time high. That's what's up. We'll also be discussing BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF sees unprecedented growth in 2024, setting new $50 billion record. I'll be breaking down the report, as well as Terraform co-founder Do Kwon appears before the U.S. judge and pleads not guilty. And if he is guilty, it's like 130 years behind bars. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin Treasuries primed to double in 2025. According to Invest Answers, I'll be sharing what this could mean for the King crypto. We'll also be discussing 200,000 Bitcoin incoming, according to Marathon Digital CEO, but there is a catch. We'll also be discussing Stock the Flow creator Plan B says Bitcoin will smash 500,000 per coin this year. In 2025, we'll also be discussing nation states turn to Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show.
The point is, if you have the superior asset, it's going up forever, Laura.
Well said, Michael. But anyways, if you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes and subscribe. Half of you who watch are not subscribed. What's going on? Then hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. Today is pod episode 1867. I'm your host, JV. It's January 3rd. Happy birthday, Bitcoin. It was 16 years ago today was the birth of the Genesis block. So all hail Satoshi today. I mean, pretty epic day for Bitcoiners around the world. Welcome everyone joining the live stream. We're live on all three platforms right now, on X, on Rumble, and YouTube. Let's kick it off with our market watch, as we do each and every day. We have Coin360 pulled up here. You can see Bitcoin broke 98,000 here today, which we love to see. The entire market back in the green. Ethereum making big strides, up 3.3% on the day, just shy of 3,600. Cardano, big gainer, up 14%, trading at $1.09. AVAX up 5%, trading back above 41 bucks. And Sui up about 7%. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. Current crypto market cap sits at Bitcoin dominance 55.8%, Ether dominance 12.3%. The total crypto market cap is 3.48 trillion, back on the climb. Bitcoin market cap 1.938 trillion. Checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. We got SPX leading the pack up 37%. We got EOS up 14% and Cardano up 13%. We haven't seen EOS. It's been quite quiet. That was the coin launched by Brock Pierce a long time ago. I remember it was like a big thing in 2017. It's been pretty quiet, but nonetheless, today it's up 14%, trading at 94.5 cents. And checking out the crypto bubbles, we get a visual perspective on the daily. As you can see, most everything pumping and in the green. Zooming out on the monthly, get a broader perspective. Virtually 90% of the market in the red, minus a few big gainers, such as the fart coin, up 650%. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index, today we're 74 greed, yesterday is 70, last week is 74, and last month is 78. And the extreme greed. And checking out the time chain calendar, we have 172,349 blocks until the halving of 2028. We're currently on block number 877,651. You currently exchange one fiat monopoly US dollar for 1,021 sats. So stack them sats and put down the gats. And there you have it. Word up. Well, let's get this show on the road. We got a lot to share today. Let's dive into today's Bitcoin technical analysis, aka astrology for the broskies, and also happy birthday, Bitcoin. 16 years ago today was the launch of the Genesis block, so we're going to dive into both these things right now. I'll pull up the charts when we're done reading from Genesis to global, the evolution of Bitcoin since block 0. And as you know, every 10 minutes we get the next block. The first Bitcoin Genesis block, famously known as block 0, was mined January 3rd of 2009. Over the past 16 years, more than 1.13 billion transactions have been permanently recorded across roughly 800,000 blocks on the decentralized Bitcoin blockchain. And for those that don't know, Satoshi coined the term time chain, and that was changed to the blockchain, just FYI. Hence why we still use the time chain calendar here on the show. Bitcoin's creator Satoshi embedded a headline from the UK newspaper The Times in the Genesis block. The Times, Jan 3rd, 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for the banks. The message was a critique of the traditional financial system and government bailouts during the 2008 global financial crisis. And here it is here, Chancellor on the brink of the second bailout for the banksters. Now, when Bitcoin launched, it was dismissed as an obscure experiment in digital money. Still, Nakamoto's vision began taking shape a decade later as unstable economies started eyeing Bitcoin as a hedge against fiat currency inflation and growing dependence on the US dollar as institutions, governments, and individuals increasingly recognized the potential as a store of value and a medium of exchange. El Salvador in 2021 became the first country, hence Bitcoin country, to adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender. And in addition to allowing citizens open access to a Bitcoin economy, its government has since accumulated more than 6,000 of the Bitty, which is worth $570 million at the current price. Several countries, including the United States, China, the UK, and the Ukraine, hold large bags of Bitcoin today. Here's a graph of the countries holding the most Bitty. And as you can see, it's Bitcoin, China, and the UK. And as Bitcoin's adoption grows, the network's computational demands have risen exponentially. We call this the network difficulty, a relative measure of how difficult it is to mine a new block for the blockchain, which reached a new all-time high of 110 trillion. To maintain the profitability amid the increase in difficulty and operational costs, the Bitcoin miners, Bitfarms, Hut 8, Hive Digital spent much of this past year upgrading their mining equipment, despite the lower Bitcoin block reward due to the Bitcoin quadrennial halving events every 4 years, fam. Mining have been well compensated in 2024 for the miners as Bitcoin breached the 100,000 legacy milestone for the first time in history. I believe that was on November 4th, and the crowd has been going wild ever since. Look at the Bitcoin mining hash rate, and FYI, it just hit a new all-time high today. And looking into the future, the Bitcoin blockchain has grown 627 gigabytes over the last 16 years, raising concerns about storage and synchronization of the full nodes. And to address the issue, developers have implemented several strategies. These include pruning nodes to retain only the most recent transactions necessary for the validation, reducing the maximum block size. How many of you are running your own Bitcoin node? Let me know. And for those that don't know, you can become the Bitcoin network from running your own node, and we highly encourage people to do so. These solutions, however, come with trade-offs in terms of the security, decentralization, and complexity. Ongoing research and community consensus remain essential to overcoming these challenges. I would suggest if you're going to run a Bitcoin node, make sure your drive is at least 2 terabytes, and you should be golden with the current size of the blockchain, just FYI. And if you don't know, now you know. And as you can see, the Bitcoin hash rate hit the new all-time high on Satoshi's birthday. You got to dig that, respect. And check this out. 2 friends with one passion, Mr. Eric Trump posted, and it's a picture of Eric and Sailor, and apparently Eric is a giant. I mean, it makes Sailor look like his child. But nonetheless, I'm sure Sailor's portfolio makes Eric Trump look like a child. And I'm just going to leave it at that. And pulling up some of the live charts, let's flip out the scene for you guys to see some live chart action. Jackson live and in the flesh. Bitcoin's hovering at around 98,000. There's a 1 hour chart. We do have a rising wedgie. We do have a target of 108.5 in play. And we also have a red target of 110 in play on the 1 hour. Zooming out to the 4 hour. And similar targets, I would assume. Yep. 110 still in play and 108.5 in play on the 4 hour. Zooming out from the 4 hour, take a quick look at the 1 day. And the 1 day says it's going up forever, Laura. We have a rising wedgie here as well. And also that red target at 110 and the green target at 108.5. And after the daily, we look at the weekly. And the weekly says we're still going up forever, Laura. And you can see several consecutive green weekly closes, then stifled by 2 corrective red candles, and we're already marking a nice strong green candle for the new week here, in which we get the weekly close on Sunday, 2 days out. So there you have it. Let's see if we can recapture 100 G's before the end of the week by this weekend, a little weekend pumpage. And zooming out on the monthly, you can see Moonvember, we had the big green, $30,000 appreciative month, which is the greatest we've had since the inception of the Genesis block. Then we had the corrective red, for the last month, and we're forming a green already for January 2025. Bitcoin ETFs over 50 billion, new record achieved with the BlackRock IBIT. That's right, according to the latest report. According to Bloomberg, no other ETF has had a better debut than the BlackRock iShares Bitcoin Trust, better known as IBIT, citing Todd Sohn, managing director of the ETF and technological strategy at the institutional brokerage for Strategize Securitize. The report says the size of the IBIT is now equivalent to the combined assets under management of more than 50 European market-focused ETFs, most of which already exist for more than 2 decades, including the gold ETF. I heard it's the 20th year this year. So Bitcoin already surpassed its volume in like 1 year, broskies. It's crazy. Advisory firm, the ETF store president, Nate Gerasi, said it is the greatest launch in ETF history. That's right. Bloomberg intelligence analyst Balchunas said IBIT reached over 50 billion in assets under management, 5 times faster than the second fastest ETF, which is the BlackRock's iShares Core MSCI EAFE ETF, which took nearly 4 years to reach that level. So IBIT also holds more assets than BlackRock's iShares Gold ETF, the second largest gold fund in the world, as the Bitcoin ETF sees last year's third largest net inflow of 37 billion. Gerasi said, as long as the price of the BITI does not collapse, IBIT can potentially surpass the SPDR Gold Shares, the largest gold ETF, in 2025. Meanwhile, Bloomberg intelligence analyst James Seyfarth says IBIT can expect to earn about $112 million per year, just based on the current ETF asset level and the expense ratio of 0.25%. Quoting him here, IBIT's growth is unprecedented. It is the fastest ETF to reach the most milestones faster than any other ETF in any asset class. And that's a fact, Jack. Here's the latest from the Do Kwon, who stole all the Kwon. Terraform co-founder Do Kwon appears before the U.S. judge and pleads not guilty. Not surprised. Yeah, so let's read the latest with this one. Terraform's co-founder Do Kwon appeared, I don't know if you guys say Do or Do, whatever, before the U.S. magistrate January 2nd, that was yesterday, pleaded not guilty to the charges in the first legal hearing for the former tech executive since his extradition to the United States. The embattled crypto founder appeared before the U.S. magistrate Judge Robert Lerberger of the Southern District of New York in Manhattan on Thursday afternoon to submit his plea and agreed to be held without bail. Of course, they're not going to give him bail. The former tech executives face 9 counts of various charges, including securities fraud, wire fraud, money laundering charges, and commodities fraud. Sounds very similar to Bankman-Fried's charges for his role in the collapse of Terra ecosystem. A status conference is set for January 8th, 5 days out, for the defense and prosecution to share evidence and discuss the motions leading into the trial. The hearing marks a milestone in the legal saga of the former tech exec, which has taken several turns since 2023, as Montenegrin court officials waited extraditing the Terraform co-founder to the U.S. or his homeland, which is actually in South Korea. And here you can see the sealed indictment. Here's some of the highlights. Legal authorities in do I pronounce this right? Montenegro previously concluded that the Terraform's co-founder met the criteria to be extradited either to the U.S. or South Korea. However, December 27th, their Minister of Justice, Bojan, approved Kwon's extradition to the U.S. It was translated written statement. It said their Ministry of Justice determined the former crypto executive should be extradited to the U.S. after considering several factors. These factors included the gravity of the criminal acts, the place of the execution, the order of the submission of the request, and the citizenship of the requested person, the possibility of further extradition to another country, as well as other circumstances. Now, their prime minister confirmed that Kwon was in U.S. custody, and quoting him here, our nation welcomes innovation in legitimate crypto, AI, and other tech entrepreneurs. We have have already zero tolerance for the fraud, the prime minister wrote following the handoff to the U.S. authorities. Terraform Labs previously settled the lawsuit with the U.S. SEC in June of 2024, agreeing to pay the agency $4.5 billion, which included $204 million in penalties for the former executive. And there you go. Let me know if any of yous were invested in Terra/Luna. They had like a type of stable coin that was allegedly backed by Bitcoin, but their whole ecosystem fell apart in the collapse following, Bankman-Fried's FTX and all the drama from the bear. Let me know if you guys were there to witness it, and were any of you affected by it? Do let me know, family. Don't you know, pump it up. I know JC should answer her phone. That's all I know.
Pump it up, don't you know, pump it up.
But anyways, keep the comments flowing, fam. Let's dive into our next story of the day, shall we? Let's discuss these treasuries. Bitcoin for the treasury. Headline here reads, Bitcoin treasuries primed to double in 2025. According to Invest Answers, shout out Invest Answers. Here's what it could mean for the Biddy and the Biddy fam. A closely followed crypto analyst is predicting that the number of the corporations adopting the Bitcoin treasury strategy will double this year. In a new video update, Invest Answers shared that a doubling of the Bitcoin treasuries can send the flagship crypto asset to an astronomical new all-time high. Did someone say astronomical? Send it. The beauty of the Bitcoin is it's hard and it's driven by supply and demand. What happens if the supply drives up? What happens if the long-term hodlers are done a selling? What happens if the miners, all their bags are being bought up? What happens if more of the big players enter the market? Imagine a dozen more Mikey Sailors. Good Lord. This is what can drive the prices absolutely bonkers. We have seen tons of treasuries come in. We now have the FASB, Financial Accounting Standards Board rules, which make it even easier for more treasuries to come on board. And the number of the treasuries are going to double this year. That's part of my 2025 prediction as well. That means, where is all this Bitcoin going to come from? The only thing that can happen is the price will go up. It's going up forever, Laura. That's it. And according to the Bitcoin Magazine Pro, there's currently 33 publicly traded companies with Bitcoin treasuries. The largest one being, of course, Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy, which holds 444,262 of the Biddy. And I believe it's BlackRock who's now the largest holder. They have over 500,000. It's crazy. And just imagine, what if another BlackRock or Michael Saylor came along? I mean, sayonara, Bitcoin, and stop selling your Bitcoin to the institutions and people like Michael, because they're glad to continue to buy it at the top forever. In fact, Michael Saylor said, I will be buying the Bitcoin top forever. $1 million a coin, no problem. 10 million, no problem. We're just going to continue to buy. And there you go, yo. Let's discuss this 200,000 target. Then we'll discuss a 500,000 target as Nipsey continues sending Gary Gensler, current chairman of the SEC, a message. Gary deserves it. So, next headline, 200,000 Bitcoin incoming by the end of 2025, according to the Marathon Digital CEO. But there is a catch. Let's break her down. The CEO of the Bitcoin miner Marathon Digital, Fred Thiel, is leaning bullish on the Biddy. In a new interview with the David Lynn Report, Thiel says that between the beginning of 2025 and around the date of the inauguration of the president, which is January 20th, we got 17 days. Bitcoin will start to run again. And excuse me, the hiccups just chimed in. According to the Marathon Digital CEO, Bitcoin could first fall to levels last witnessed in November of 2024 before exploding by around 108% from the current level over the coming months. Wowzers. It's like a root beer float. We're going to explode, he says, quoting him here. I think the majority of the people who look at Bitcoin price are expecting a correction into the low 90s, high 80s, and then a return of the dragon for the growth ending somewhere approaching 200 Gs by the end of the next year. I think that's a pretty valid scenario just based on the demand that we're seeing kind of on the sidelines. Thiel further says if the U.S. sets up a strategic Bitcoin reserve, it could also serve the price catalyst for the Biddy. Quoting him here, if a strategic reserve is announced by the United States, that will drive a relatively big push. If other countries start announcing reserves, again, there is a finite supply of the Biddy. There's only 21 million Biddy that will ever exist. 20 million more or less have been mined, and that maybe 4 million are in the wallets that either have keys that are lost or inaccessible for other reasons or just won't move. 1 million of which is in the Satoshi wallet itself. So there is not a lot of the Biddy to go around. And so you start adding up those demands on supply, and it's a big number. And then you look at the pension funds that want to put 1 or 2% into the biddy, and you can just see the growth of the ETFs. The Bitcoin ETFs in 12 months have grown to more than the assets under management than gold ETFs took 20 freaking years, 2 decades to accumulate. Do you hear that, Schiffmeister? Are you going to capitulate? Send a wellness check, please, to Peter Schiff's house right now. Give him another opportunity to capitulate and get rid of his gold, which we all know is going to zero against the apex predator, thy biddy. And there you have it, yo. Well, let me know if you agree, disagree with that prediction from the CEO, from the miner. Now for our feature story of the day. Stock to Flow creator Plan B says Bitcoin will hit $500,000 per coin. And as a bonus headline, nation states turn to Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. You damn straight. And here's a tweet from Plan B. Let's start here. This was shared on January 1st. Here's the receipt, Jan 1st, 2025 at 1:52 p.m., 838,000 views. Here's his predictions. My forward guidance for 2025 has not changed since 2022, when Bitcoin was 20,000. See below. A rise into April 2024 halving, check. Halving around stock to flow value, check. Pump after the halving, check. 100,000 in 2024, check. You know, we achieved 108.3 is the current all-time high price discovery. And then the next prediction, which hasn't come true yet. 2025, we hit the stock to flow target, 500,000 average, with a range between $250,000 and $1 million. So he's ultimately saying Bitcoin can range this year anywhere from $250,000 to $1 million per coin, with the average being 500 G's, baby. And he shows you the receipt from October 6, 2022. His prediction was my forward guidance for the next 3 years, 2024 halving is a coming. And the increased scarcity of the stock to flow ratio will pump the biddy price, just like 2012, 2016, and 2020. Now, some people chimed in here. BitCody said, respect the stock to flow model's historical accuracy, but moving from 2 trillion to 10 trillion market cap in 12 months requires institutional capital. I simply can't deploy that fast. Even BlackRock can't conjure 8 trillion out of the thin air, doubling to 4 trillion. That's realistic with the spot ETFs plus the halving. Think velocity of the capital, not just the models. Plan B chimed in. You don't need 8 trillion inflow to go from 2 trill to 10 trill as the market cap. You need just a fraction of the 8 trill. And then he chimed in, fair point. And there you go. And let's continue with this stock to flow analysis paralysis from the Bitcoin stock to flow creator. Here you go. Plan B creator, the renowned stock to flow, has reaffirmed his ambitious price target for 500,000 for the new year. Let me know if you agree, disagree with the target. Known for his data-driven predictions, Plan B highlighted his forecast has remained unchanged since 2022. And I just showed you the proof of work via the receipts from the post. And with the 2024 halving event now behind us, he sees this year as pivotal for the stock to flow model to demonstrate the full potential. Plan B emphasizes the Bitcoin rally to 108 in late 2024, validates the stock to flow model, as he did call for 100,000 in 2024, so he nailed it. And according to his projections, Bitcoin can average 500 G's in 2025, with a potential trading range between $250,000 and $1 million. His forecast aligns with the growing institutional adoption and macroeconomic shifts, reinforcing the Bitcoin status as a store of value, the greatest store of value to ever exist, the apex predator. Now, here's the factors driving the Bitcoin price surge. I'll break it down for you. There's 3 factors. Impact of the halving event for the Bitcoin halving in April of 2024, which reduced the supply of the new coins entering the circulation, creating scarcity, driving demand. Historically, halving events have catalyzed significant price surges. Plan B expects this trend to continue. Bitcoin's ability to reach 108 in 2024 underscores the halving's impact on its valuation. It's always the year preceding the halving we hit the cycle peak, and this year is that year. Just saying. Number 2, institutional adoption. I call it the institutional FOMO like a mofo. Institutions are increasingly adopting the biddy as a hedge against economic uncertainty. MicroStrategy, for example, recently added 2,100 Bitcoin to its holdings. They now have 446,400 BTC. Stop selling your Bitcoin to Michael Saylor. Institutional investments not only validate the Bitcoin role in financial markets, but also provide the strong upward pressure for the price. And number 3, what's on everyone's mind? Strategic Bitcoin reserves. There's speculation that the United States of America may establish the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve, which can drive demand much further. If realized, this would move a signal for the Bitcoin acceptance as a critical financial asset, potentially propelling the prices towards Plan B's forecasted range. And my personal prediction is 1.1 million if they do establish the Bitcoin strategic reserve for the United States of America. And if Trump follows through with all his promises, look at this guy right here. He says he is going to stockpile diabetes. He's going to stop selling it. Unlike the Biden administration, he says he's going to end the Biden administration's war on crypto. He says he is going to fire Gary Gensler. So go get your shine box, Gary. He also says he's going to free Ross Ulbricht and make the United States of America a Bitcoin mining hub for the world. And Cynthia Lummis is proposing a bill for the strategic Bitcoin reserve so they can purchase Bitcoin every year. Will it be 1 million Bitcoin? Maybe a modest 250,000 Bitcoin purchase per year for the US? Will it be more advantageous at 4 million Bitcoin, which Kennedy Jr. proposed at that conference? You let me know your thoughts. But right now, it's up to this man. And it's up to the Congress to pass the bill. And if the bill gets passed and Trump puts his signature on the line, game on. You already know, family. In 2025, Bitcoin is no longer just a niche investment, but a geopolitical asset. Governments and central banks around the world, from Washington to Zurich, have engaged in the discussion about the role in the national reserves. Bitcoin is emerging as a challenger to traditional reserve assets like the gold and the US dollar, with the potential to reshape the global monetary order. Under the Trump admin, the convo around Bitcoin has changed. Once skeptical, President Trump has expressed support for Bitcoin as a strategic asset, outlining plans for a certain or creation of a U.S. Bitcoin reserve to enhance the economic stability. Can you say Bitcoin for the Treasury? Yes, please. The administration suggests holding Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation and the weakening dollar. The proposal has been debated in Congress, with supporters like Cynthia Lummis arguing that Bitcoin's finite supply makes it an ideal addition to national reserves. Skeptics remain, but the momentum is undeniable. Quoting the senator here, Ms. Lummis, 2025 will be the year of the biddy in digital assets. With David Sachs as the crypto czar, this will be the most pro-digital asset administration of all time. I look forward to working closely with David Sachs to pass comprehensive digital legislation in my strategic Bitcoin reserve. And there you go. And if you don't know, now you know. 1.1 million in play with the strategic Bitcoin reserve, 2.2 million in play according to the high priest, Max Kaiser. Even the bear scenario, base case for the broskies, we're looking at a nice 4x. 420 in play. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Holla at your boy. And welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live stream. This cycle is different for many reasons. Number one, says Greg, Bitcoin's all-time high prior to the halving. Number two, ETF release. Number three, BRICS. Number four, El Salvador, Bhutan. Number five, MicroStrategy. Number six, asset consideration. 7, 8, 9, you and me, let's freaking go to the moon. Thank you, Greg. JV, play the Trump sound clips. You got it, brother. Hear it from the Trumpster himself.
This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world.
The Bitcoin superpower of the world. Send it.
We'll get it done.
And then he ends it with, we'll get it done. That's confidence, broskies. Look at the Nippinator. He's chanting over here himself. Paws in the air. He approves of this message.
If crypto is going to define the future, I want to be mined, minted, and made in the USA. It's going to be. It's not going to be.
He says it's going to be mined and minted in the USA. How do you like those apples?
Made anywhere else. And
he says it's not going to be made anywhere else. I don't know how that's possible, but so be it.
Bitcoin is going to the moon, as we say. It's going to the moon.
It's going to the moon. He does it in that voice. It's going to the moon. I dig it.
I want America to be the nation that leads the way, and that's what's going to happen.
He wants America to lead the way, and that's what's going to happen, Captain. I love you, JV. Thank you, Swift Impact. Have fun at the Max and State. You know we will. You already know. So when am I waiting for the light to change? I'm working with you guys. And then when I am making deliveries, I'm also working. Wop, 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 wop. Surge, mess them up. Thank you, Swift Impact. Bitcoin needs a government to play along or F off. End the war on the B.
I pledge to the Bitcoin community that the day I take the oath of office, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's anti-crypto crusade will be over. It will end.
The war on crypto is over. Sayonara, try tomorrow. Nice to know you. BLX, the Bitcoin Liquid Index, the oldest of all the Bitcoin charts on average, goes up 2 fib levels post-halving. History rhymes repeats. That means the BITI will hit the 1.114 Fibonacci extension at 440,000 of the dollars. Then the 1.236 Fibonacci is next at 3 milli. Then the next halving is March of 2028. Send it. If I see free Ross, I will have 100% confidence. Amen.
It'll be done.
That's the first of the promises. Free Ross on day one. He gets a pardon. And number 2, fire Gary. The rest is a wrap.
It'll be done. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new...
Yeah! Go get your shine box, Gary. We don't need you. Your job is done, mofo.